I can figure it out.
Back off.
The story kicks off with a bold heist at a highly secure CIA vault right in the heart of Brussels, Belgium. Chaos erupts as automatic gunfire rings out, taking down a guard who slumps lifelessly right by the vault door. The masked thief wastes no time. He grabs the fallen guard's pass guard, unlocks the gate with ease, and opens the targeted vault box like it's no big deal. Inside, he retrieves a small canister, carefully tucking it into his bag. As he exits the scene, his brutality becomes evident with bodies left scattered behind him. He sneaks out through a hidden service exit and tosses the bag onto a waiting motorcycle before another rider shows up to whisk him away. The bag eventually ends up stashed in a hidden spot under a highway overpass near a sleek Mercedes. When a man inside the car retrieves the bag, it's clear this isn't some random crime. It reeks of an inside job. Meanwhile, back at CIA headquarters, an agent named Anna Brandt tries to contact the man who's now holding the canister. Frustration kicks in as her calls go unanswered. Fast forward to Antwerp, where we meet Ben Logan, a guy who seems like your average engineer. But the scars on his back hint at a past he's not sharing. As Ben gears up for work, we see his ID badge, linking him to Halgate, a security systems company. Just then, his teenage daughter Amy appears, ready for school. Their relationship is rocky at best. Ben's overprotective and controlling, while Amy's got a rebellious streak. She's been hiding her poor grades from him, but he finds out and scolds her for it. Amy snaps back, pointing out that her late mother never snooped through her stuff like he does. It's clear she's still adjusting to living with him again after some time apart. As they leave, Amy reminds her dad not to miss her awards ceremony later that evening. At work, Ben shares a friendly rapport with Walter, the gatekeeper. He and his colleagues are tasked with reviewing security lock products for flaws. But something fishy pops up. Mei Ling, one of his co-workers, realizes that the company doesn't actually own the patents for the products they're inspecting. She jots down a patent number on her hand, but before they can investigate further, their boss, Derek Kohler, summons them for a presentation. Here's a twist. Derek's the guy we saw earlier with the canister. During the presentation, Ben showcases his expertise by hacking a smart lock using a mix of sulfur and bleach. Then he moves on to a high-tech biometric iris scanner, which he cracks with a video compilation of 50 specific irises played in a precise sequence. Derek's impressed and asks for a copy of the video, flashing a sly grin. Later, when Ben raises concerns about the company's questionable patent ownership, Derek brushes it off with vague reassurances. After working late to prepare a detailed report, Ben's exhaustion takes over. He's about to head home when a co-worker, Floyd, urges him to call it a day. Just as he's about to leave, it hits him. He completely forgot about Amy's awards ceremony. He rushes to her school, only to arrive late. Despite this, he's proud to see Amy win first prize for her photo essay titled Homeland. Later, he finds her at a diner, playing foosball and chatting with a guy named Nabil, who also featured in her essay. On the way home, Ben questions Amy about Nabil, but she casually brushes it off, saying he's just a friend. Their usual playful bickering resumes, showing their bond despite the tension. When Amy complains about being hungry, Ben hands her a box of cookies, forgetting they contain peanuts, which she's allergic to. As soon as she starts reacting, Ben rushes her to the hospital. By 8 a.m., Amy's discharged. Ben tells her they need to swing by his office to grab a delivery. On the way, Amy throws jabs about how he abandoned her and her mom in the past. When they reach the office, Ben's shocked to find the entire Halgate complex completely wiped out. No furniture, no equipment, nothing. He tries calling the office number, but it's disconnected. To make things worse, his cell phone suddenly stops working. Desperate for answers, Ben uses a payphone to contact Halgate's main office in Brussels. He asks for Derek, but the operator insists no one by that name works there. Alarmed, Ben decides to take Amy to Brussels to figure out what's going on. When they arrive at Halgate headquarters, a senior official denies not only Derek's existence, but also Ben's. He even claims there's no subsidiary in Antwerp. Ben asks to use a cell phone battery to access his email, but his inbox is mysteriously empty. The plot thickens when Ben learns his last recorded address was in New York 14 years ago, even though he's been living in Antwerp for weeks. To top it off, his bank account has been inactive since it was opened. As Ben grapples with these revelations, Floyd shows up, pretending to be just as confused. But his true intentions are revealed when he pulls a gun on Ben. He forces Ben to drive, holding Amy hostage in the back seat. Ben demands answers, but all he gets is a pistol whipped to the face. Despite the tense situation, Ben manages to stay calm, telling Amy to buckle up. When Floyd gets frustrated and threatens Amy, Ben slams on the brakes, sending Floyd crashing into the windshield. A fight ensues, with Ben wrestling Floyd for the gun. Shots are fired, and the car flips over, rolling down a hill onto a lower highway. Despite being hurt, Amy crawls out of the wreckage. Floyd, injured but still dangerous, starts shooting at her, but Ben tackles him. In the struggle, Ben manages to put Floyd in a headlock and demands to know who he's working for. Before he can get any answers, Floyd's neck snaps, killing him instantly. Searching Floyd's pockets, Ben finds some cash and a key. As sirens approach, Ben and Amy flee the scene. They break into a house on a quiet street, where Ben tends to their injuries. Amy suggests calling the cops or the U.S. State Department, but Ben explains that without proof of their existence, no one can help them. Then Ben notices the key he took from Floyd, marked with AC for Antwerp Central. They head to the train station, where Ben checks a locker using the key. Inside, he finds a file containing photos and information about Mei Ling, his colleagues, and even Amy and her grandfather. Meanwhile, Amy panics when she spots police officers closing in on Ben. She rushes to warn him, and in the chaos, they manage to slip away unnoticed. Later, Ben examines the file and discovers addresses linked to his coworkers. With Amy's help, he identifies the nearest hospital, where they find Mei Ling's body in the morgue. Ben bribes the shift manager to sneak in, only to find his co-workers' bodies labeled as illegal immigrants. He notices the patent number still written on Mei Ling's palm. However, Walter's body is missing. As they leave, Walter appears, hunting them down. He fires at Ben and Amy, hitting hospital staff instead. Ben dodges the bullets and leads Amy to safety in the inpatient ward, where she hides in a closet. Walter finds her hiding spot and prepares to shoot, but Ben intervenes just in time. A struggle over the gun ensues, but Walter ultimately gains the upper hand. This time around, Amy steps up big time and saves her dad's life. While Walter's distracted, Ben seizes the moment and takes him down for good with a flurry of bullets. But it doesn't come without a cost. Amy ends up with a nasty flesh wound, courtesy of Walter. After a trip to the hospital, Ben does his best to patch her up. That's when he decides to drop a bombshell. His so-called job at the State Department? Totally fake. Turns out Ben's been living a double life as a CIA operative. The whole Walter and Floyd situation? They were trained government assassins, and that locker file Ben found? It was a hit list. Amy's mind is blown. Everything she thought she knew about her dad? Out the window. Back in the States, the CIA is buzzing. They've got intel on the deaths of Walter and Floyd, and suspicions are swirling around Ben, who, surprise, used to work for them. They think he might have been involved in the robbery too, given his skills in cracking security. What's really freaking them out, though, is the missing canister. Apparently, it's evidence tied to a ship owned by Halgate that sank 6 months ago. That canister proves Halgate was secretly arming various countries for profit. Most of the victims' families took hush money, but one family decided to sue. If that canister stays lost, the CIA might be in some deep trouble for destabilizing entire regions. Anna, Ben's ex and a former colleague, gets tasked with finding him. She claims she hasn't spoken to him in half a year since he left the agency, but she's willing to track him down. While Anna's working her angle, she has a phone chat with Derek, and boom, another twist. Turns out Anna was the brains behind the robbery, though she had no clue about the murders. Derek drops another name into the mix, Bramer, who he says is responsible for the killings. Derek uses the info Ben dug up to crack open the canister's locks. Then, in a power move, he tells Anna he's taking charge now because he doesn't want to end up dead like the others. Meanwhile, Ben and Amy are having a heart-to-heart at a cafe. Ben confesses he quit the CIA to be a better dad after Amy's mom passed away. This moment brings them closer together. But they've got a pressing issue, finding a place to stay. Amy hits up her friend Nabil, who ropes in his brother Kareem to help out. Kareem hooks them up with a spot in Brussels for 2,000 euros. During the deal, Ben notices some sparks between Amy and Nabil. In true overprotective dad mode, he gives Nabil a stern warning in Arabic. Eventually, Kareem returns the money out of sympathy for their tough situation, and they end up crashing in a crowded refugee neighborhood. The next day, Bramer meets with the family suing Halgate. He's hoping to shut them up with a fat check, but they demand a personal apology from Mr. Halgate himself. Meanwhile, Anna contacts Bramer from Brussels and arranges a face-to-face. When they meet, Anna calls him out for killing innocent people and warns him that Ben's coming for revenge. She reminds Bramer that Ben's no ordinary guy, He's a top-tier ex-CIA Black Ops agent. Bramer tries to justify his actions, saying Ben was digging into their shady operations. They part ways with Anna promising to track down Kohler, while Bramer takes on the task of dealing with Ben. Things take a dark turn when Bramer's hired expert pays Kareem a visit. Later, Nabil discovers his brother's lifeless body. It's clear the expert knows exactly where to find Ben now. Meanwhile, Ben and Amy are doing their own digging. They learn the iris scanner patent is tied to a New York company, but when Ben calls the listed number, he realizes it's a CIA line. Amy, on the other hand, finds out that Ben's old workplace was leased by a firm called Marcus Wolf, which recently shut down its Brussels office. Marcus was supposedly a German spy who died 5 years ago, but when Ben and Amy investigate further, they discover he was the last occupant. Using some old-school spy tricks, Ben figures out the last number dialed from the office led to a hotel. When he calls, he's stunned to hear that Marcus Wolf is there. The local CIA team picks up on Ben's call and loops in Anna. Ben and Amy head to the hotel. While Amy waits in the lobby, Ben storms up to Marcus's room. Surprise, surprise, Marcus Wolf is actually Derek Kohler. Ben corners him and starts an intense interrogation, but Derek keeps playing coy. Downstairs, Amy spots some sketchy characters, slips away from them, and triggers the fire alarm to create chaos. Back in Derek's room, Ben starts piecing things together. Derek reveals that the CIA was using Ben all along to retrieve the canister's contents. Before Ben can get more answers, Derek takes his own life. As Ben and Amy try to escape the hotel, Anna and her team close in. Amy uses her wits to set off car alarms, creating a diversion. Ben manages to disarm Anna, who pleads with him to let her help. She promises their safety if he hands over the canister, but Ben's only question is why she left him in Belgium. Anna confesses that the CIA wanted him dead for not following orders, but she convinced them to just kick him out of the agency. Even so, Ben doesn't trust her and leaves with Amy. The weight of Ben's revelations about his CIA past hits Amy hard. She's struggling to process that her dad was involved in something so dark. Feeling betrayed, she decides to leave and heads home via subway. Tearfully, she calls her grandpa, saying she wants to come back home. But before she can, Mr. Expert shows up. When Ben gets back to their hideout, he finds the hostess dead and Amy gone. Amid the chaos, Nabil shows up, furious and grieving over his brother's death. Despite his anger, he and Ben team up, realizing they share a common enemy. Nabil takes Ben to a friend's place, where they start strategizing. While going through the ship's manifest from the canister, Ben uncovers that James Halgate was smuggling US-made weapons to Mozambique in exchange for access to valuable lithium mines. To his shock, he discovers Anna's name on Halgate's payroll. With this explosive info, Ben arranges a meet-up with Anna at a train station. He skillfully maneuvers her through the trains, separating her from her team. After reminiscing about their past in Somalia, Ben warns Anna to tell Halgate he'll be a dead man if anything happens to Amy. Then, he vanishes into the crowd. At their hideout, Nabil hands Ben a briefcase while Ben prepares a mysterious liquid solution, hinting at plans for explosives. As they work, they watch Halgate's court hearing online. At the courthouse, Halgate gives a carefully crafted apology to Mrs. Peters, the mother who refused to settle. Satisfied, she accepts his apology and agrees to the settlement. Halgate walks out, playing the part of a remorseful businessman. But Ben's not buying it. He sneaks up on Halgate, slipping a cell phone into his hand that he passes to Bramer. On the phone, Ben tells Bramer he's got the evidence and demands Amy's release. Anna convinces Halgate to let her handle the exchange, using her connection to Ben as leverage. Halgate reluctantly agrees, seeing her determination. Ben sends a text setting the meeting at the Palace of Justice. It's the perfect spot for Ben to deliver his version of justice. But things don't go as planned. Anna tries to save Amy during the exchange, but Halgate's always one step ahead. Mr. Expert ambushes her, delivering a fatal blow. With Anna out of the picture, Amy is easily recaptured. Nearby, Ben rigs the briefcase with a bomb set to detonate when opened twice. At the meeting spot, Halgate and Bramer arrive, flanked by security. Ben, ever the ghost, sneaks up on Halgate and holds him at gunpoint. He lays out Halgate's entire scheme, selling weapons to Mozambican factions in exchange for lithium and creating shell companies to hide the evidence. Halgate, unfazed, counters by showing Ben that he's got Amy. Bramer demands Ben surrender in exchange for Amy's freedom. Left with no choice, Ben hands over his gun and tells Amy to run, slipping her some cash. Just as things seem dire, Nabil swoops in on a motorcycle, delivering the rigged briefcase and whisking Amy away. Halgate, suspicious, opens the briefcase to check its contents. The first time, nothing happens, but when he opens it again to add a document, boom, the briefcase explodes, taking him and Bramer out. At the airport, Amy prepares to fly back to the US. She bids an emotional goodbye to Nabil, even giving him a heartfelt kiss. But just as she's feeling the weight of everything, she hears a familiar name over the loudspeaker. Marcus Wolf. She looks up and sees her dad, alive and well, running into his arms. Her tears of sadness turn into pure joy as the credits roll.